So my topic is tubal pathology, endoscopy versus ART, and I have taken greetings from Jaipur, and we all know that 15% of the married couple has the experience of infertility, 30% have the tubal causes, and 15% of tubal infertility have the proximal, and 16 to 40% have the distal tubal obstructions. So we all know the where is the tubal blockage is there, and we should not go in the details of the causes of the all the things, because actually the tubal corneal reason is the tubal spasms, salpingitis, ischemica nodosa, endometriosis, polyps. Ischemic reason there may be the prior sterilization, tubal pregnancy, SEN, TB, endometriosis. Ampular reason has the interluminal adhesions, tubal pregnancies. Infundibulum has the hydrosalpinx phimosis of the distal ostium. So adhesions, these kind of the many diseases may affect the tubal pathologies and result of the leading in the infertility. So we can manage many things with the laparoscopy, like proximal tubal diseases can be taken up by the tubal cannulation or IVF, both the things. Mid-tubal diseases are the need the tubal reconstruction. Microsurgeries, femoral and distal tubal diseases need the fembrioplasty, and peritubal adhesions need the adhesiolysis, and TO-mass and other things can be taken up easily by the laparoscopy. Laparoscopy is actually the minimal access surgery, and previously we may need the laparotomy for these kind of the surgery, but nowadays laparoscopy made a daycare surgery and patient can afford, and there is very less invasive surgeries to reform these decreases, like patient, we can free the patient with the diseases and we can give the fertile period to the patient also. So proximal tubal blockage are around 25%, and we can go for the canalization, and meta-analysis of the study says that if we relieve the tubal proximal tubal obstructions, 85% of the tube with the cannulation and can conceive this much of the patient. So very good result actually. And the decision to repair the removal of the fallopian tube, the distals is usually intraoperative. For the distal tubes, we can take the decision intraoperatively only, and there is a good result also that 8% in the untreated group and 58 to 77% after surgery patient can conceive. So very enlightening result and very good result. You can see as well in this video also, this kind of the proximal adhesions may be there, and patient can be actually give the result very well. Like this kind of the filmy adhesion can be taken up by the laparoscopy, and we can use the scissors and we can just relieve the mild adhesions, and we can give patient, restore the fertility of the patient. So distal tubal diseases can also be easily taken up, and this table shows that pregnancy rate is around 60 to 70% after adhesiolysis or peritubal salpingo ovarian lysis. And this table shows that when we classify the diseases, good prognosis, moderate prognosis, and bad prognosis, and they can score actually 37%, 54% 2-year cumulative pregnancy rate. In the good prognosis cases, moderate prognosis cases is around 50%, and 12% the bad prognosis also. So there is hope also in the bad prognosis cases also, and this also table shows in the femoral pathology. There also we can get the good pregnancy rate like 72%, 58%, and 28%. Where in the ARTs, the success rate is around 20-30% or maximum 40%. And this is also the reference table which demonstrate the benefit of the surgery in the peritubal adhesion, hydrosalpinges, and other tubal pathologies. And a very good scope in the patient of the surgical sterilization patient, where patient done the laparoscopic ligation or open ligation, and after they may require the fertility. So younger than 40 years of the patient need 70% result, and in the microsurgeries after they can get the 90% result, and even more than 40-year women also can get the 40 to 70% of the result by the surgery only. And this is a very nice surgery, and we can easily do with the laparoscopy only by injecting the vasopressin in the mesosalpinx, and then we can just cutting the obstructed part, ligated and we can just reconstruct the tubes with the 6040 Vicryl, and we can get actually this kind of the result at the end of the surgery. So you can see after completion of surgery, there is a good blue color dye coming out from the fembrel end of the tube, which is a very gratifying and very promotive to the surgeons also. Like this kind of the blue color give very good satisfaction and good fertility rate. So there is a ASRM report also in the practice committee of the American Society of Reproductive Medicine. They have laid down some opinions regarding the tubal surgeries, and they also said that tubal infertility and ART has a 29-30% result. But what is the disadvantages of the ART? Like cost of the surgery, cost of the ART per cycle is very high, need of the frequent injections, monitoring of the several weeks, and most significantly the risk of the multiple pregnancy and ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. IVF alone has been associated with the higher incidence of the adverse perinatal outcome in the singleton infant, and the risk of the ectopic pregnancy is also increased in patients having IVF for the tubal diseases. So these are the disadvantages of IVF. We are going to the IVF. There is a very good evidence that HSG and can support us, and proximal tubal cannulation also give the good fertility rate, and laparoscopic fembryoplasty and neosalpingostomy also recommended by the ASRM also, and mild hydrosalpinges in the young woman with no other significant fertility factor has a good result in the fertility. So there is a good evidence of recommending laparoscopic salpingectomy in the tubal occlusive cases, and good evidence to support the recommendation of microsurgical anastomosis for the tubal ligation reversal. So this is the advantage of the tubal surgery, that it is a one-time, usually minimally invasive and outpatient procedure, and the patient may attempt conception every month without further intervention, may conceive more than once, and they also avoid the risk of the associated with the IVF. So these are the very great advantages of the tubal surgery. If we restore the fertility, it is always a permanent, it is not a one-time procedure. We achieve the multiple pregnancies with the single surgery, and there is no injections and no other cost-effective measures with like IVF in the tubal surgery.
I'm sorry,
Sushila, you need to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is completed. Thank you so much.
So there is an ongoing debate. I think it's never ending, that enough is enough for tubal pathology. That is the topic given by the organizers. And what is the best, the tubal surgery or IVF? It's like these two men, one says 5, that is tuboplasty, one says that these are 7 blocks, that is IVF. So between tubal surgery or IVF, what is best? Whenever a patient comes to us, we have to decide what is the best choice for this patient depending on so many factors. As Dr. Sushila said, it is a very good thing. But what about the age of the woman and ovarian reserve? You have to see whether there is number and quality of the sperm in the ejaculate. Not only male factor, but the other infertility factors also has to be looked into. The number of children she is desiring. Sometimes these tubal reversal patients, they come after the mishap of their child and they want only one child, but they have already crossed 40 years. What is the site and extent of the tubal disease? The presence of other infertility factors, the risk of ectopic pregnancy and complications, the experience of the surgeon, the success rate of IVF program, cost and patient preference. Friends, just to remind you that IVF is now a 40-year-old technology, and it was initially designed to overcome the problem of tubal infertility. Later on, more and more indications got added to this list of IVF. So before choosing any kind of treatment for your patient, the questions you have to answer are, is it effective? Is it safe? Are there any alternatives? Is it better than the alternatives in terms of efficacy and safety? Are we actually doing it for right indications? And what next after tubal anastomosis? So first, let us decide whether IVF is effective. What evidence says? This is Cochrane Library data published in 2017. The problem is that we don't have a suitable randomized control trial between tubal surgery and IVF. That is the limiting factor for all the clinicians to have the evidence-based decisions. But this Cochrane Library said that the factors which have a major effect on fertility outcomes are female age, duration of infertility, and previous pregnancy history. This was the data published in Fertility Sterility. Of course, they said tubal anastomosis is most cost effective in less than 41 years of age, whereas IVF is cost effective if she has crossed 41. Friends, deduct 6 years from this data because our Indian women, they age 6 years earlier than their Western counterparts. So this automatically means that tubal surgery, you have to think if she is less than 35, and if she is more than 35, the balance automatically goes in favor of IVF. This is the ASRM committee opinion published in 2015. Again, they said that drawback because they don't have adequate randomized trials to compare the success rate of tubal surgery versus IVF. But they also concluded that IVF has a higher per cycle pregnancy rate. If viewed from a cost per cycle perspective, IVF may sound to be relatively expensive, but when viewed from a success per cycle perspective, however, the IVF success rates are much higher than those for tubal reversal or tuboplasty. Also remember, all cases are not amenable to surgery. Some types of tubal sterilizations are not technically reversible, such as distal femrectomy. Other cases of tubal factors, like if they are having multiple blocks, if there is a beaded tubes, if we see pelvic adhesions where the tubes are too friable to even touch them, the presence of hydrosalpinx, all these cases are not amenable to surgery. And always remember, don't be happy that just because that blue colored dye is seen from the other end, it means the tube is normal. Friends, sorry to say, no. Anatomical patency is entirely different from the functioning capacity of the tubes. This is the Cochrane 2017 data, and they have done IVF analysis and showed that women with tubal factor, both with or without other coexisting infertility, they have a high pregnancy rate in excess of 80% after 3 cycles of IVF. So friends, no doubt IVF is effective. Is it safe? Actually, it does not have any anesthesia, surgery related complications, and see what is the risk of ectopic pregnancy. Why we don't recommend reversal? Because tubal surgery is a major surgery, requires hospital stay. The costs are comparable to IVF, but with more risk and less chances of success. Ectopic pregnancy rates for tubal surgery is 20%, whereas for IVF it is 1%. If patient lands up with ectopic pregnancy, it requires emergency treatment, and that adds up to the cost. The time to pregnancy with the tubal surgery can take many months. In contrast, IVF is much quicker, and if the surgery cannot correct the tubes, or if patient does not conceive after your tubal surgery, she ultimately lands up with the IVF. For tubal surgery, you have to have a microsurgery setup. You have to have a highly skilled surgeon, and there is a steep learning curve to learn this microsurgery process. So when it comes to safety, I will say IVF is definitely safe as compared to tubal surgery. Are there any alternatives? Yes, I already said IVF is an effective and safe alternative as compared to tubal surgery. To summarize, why IVF is better? Because if you are choosing IVF, it means patient does not need future birth control as her fallopian tubes remains tied. IVF success rates, I am saying time and again that they are comparable, rather I will say they are higher than tubal surgery. It is less invasive. Tuboplasty requires major surgery, IVF does not, and IVF does not require a hospital stay or extended recovery time. IVF results have increased in these coming years because of the blastocyst transfer, availability of recombinant gonadotropins, freezing techniques to avoid the risk of OHSS, artificial hatching, endometrial receptive area, and the wonder of IVF is pre-implantation genetic diagnosis, where we can choose the healthy embryos in a woman if she is more than 40 years. This option is not there with the tubal surgery. IVF is a real blessing for those women who have low AMH, ovarian failure at young age, they have hydrosalpinx and severe tubal damage, infertility in women over age 40, and if their husband is having severe oligosteroteratogeneospermia.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. We have 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, this is last. Now it is safe and convenient. There are less chances of OHSS because of freeze-all policy in all the centers. We do avoid multiple pregnancies because every center is having single embryo transfer policy, and the less the cost, again I will say, it is definitely less as compared to tubal surgery. The success rate per month of trying post-successful surgery is 15 times lower, whereas with the ectopic chances are 10 times higher. So this is my last slide in a nutshell. The advantages of IVF over tubal surgery: good per cycle success rate, it is surgically less invasive, women can attempt conceiving immediately, there is no need for contraception once she gets a baby, less costly, more safe, significantly less chances of ectopy, and it takes care of other coexisting factors of infertility as well. So friends, what is you thinking of? Time is precious for this lady. If she's more than 35 years, just go for IVF and give her the most precious gift for which she has come to you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patient hearing.